These works really are about the process of drawing. My idea was to just play and mark the paper, you know, and see where it took me, really. So I just bought some rolls of paper and then started playing with homemade inks, and initially doing black and white, which I'd done some years ago, and then decided that, hence the title, Drawing Revisited, and then I decided from homemade ink, black and white, that's what I use, so I make gallons of it, and use mop ropes and such to make all the marks. I decided that I would just try and see what would happen if I introduced ochre, red ochre, that colour. And then by introducing that, suddenly the work took on a whole new direction. It became a lot more painterly, away from drawing, which I was initially started to worry that maybe it was no longer, the title was appropriate. But basically, I mop and mark-make and mop and just keep working on sections of a 10-metre roll of paper in my little workspace. Roll that up, roll out another section and see what happens. And the idea is to let the materials take me. I try not to pre-plan, and it happens every now and again, and then I've got to pull myself back and say, look, just, you know, you're starting to become repetitive, you're starting to think it's becoming precious, you know, and there's pieces in these works where that's happened. I might roll one out directly and show you. And then I just get a bit more violent again, you know, and start throwing paint around or inks around and mopping and letting it all happen again, you know. So really, that's it. There's no plan other than to mark it, and then I decided to turn them into sculptural pieces. And that's an exciting thing in itself, because when these pieces come down, they'll never ever be seen like this again. It's impossible. So
do you have a vision for how you want the gallery to look before they come in here, or
no.
you just go with the flow of setting them up?
Well, naively, I had plans to have a handful of recent works. And when I started playing, I realised that piece I put up first, or CJ helped me actually. I played with it on the floor a couple of days beforehand, and then did the same down this end, and then realised that there was not going to be any room for 5 pieces of work, you know. So once these 2 pieces went up, then I played with that piece, but in the end chose this piece. After rolling it out, looking at it, and just looking at the marks and such, I thought this would be much more interesting than that one. And then it's the matter of trying to get them up into a position and quickly tack them in places so that then you can stand back and then start playing with them, you know, like adjusting, I guess. So most of it is done on the floor, as in making the shape and the form and looking and then putting them up and seeing how it will go, because you never know until you've put them up. I mean, we put that piece up, that's CJ and myself, it just was not working for me, so I took it down and then I played with this piece and it started to work up that end. I had to do a bit of work on here once I had it on the wall. Just getting ideas of how tension and those sorts of things happening, you know, and how I wanted to have them look like they'd be just flung up onto the wall, you know, and they were stuck there like a magnet. and getting those tensions, because there's tension in the marks, and then I want a tension in the pieces themselves, the paper, and you start to look at the lines, and you know, and yeah, so.
In a sense, you're working on both sides.
Yes, I work on. Yeah.
Already in knowledge that something that is an active piece of paper. It's not passively going to be only seen as one thing on the own.
No, that's right. Because yeah, I mean that's the reverse there of this piece, you know, and there's little pieces showing from behind, and you know, just snippets of the other side. Yeah, and I mean that originally came about. That was because it was cost cutting, I guess. Yeah, and I initially decided to use the other side of the paper instead of buying another roll. And then when you start to work with it, the other side of the paper, because it's been wet when you turn it over, is from those marks underneath. So then there's pieces here, you can see those white lines and such, they're coming through from behind on the other side, you know. So there's that play too, and the way it's creased, and lots of these marks would be from the way the paper's been wet from the other side. And I mean that dark piece there, there's a section about 3.5 metres, I think, 4 metres. There's 4 hours of mopping. I almost had blisters, but when I say mopping, start out with a fully loaded mop and then just keep mopping until the mop's almost dry, but it's still leaving just little tiny marks, and then it starts to polish. It starts to polish, you know, and then all those other things start happening underneath, where the loaded mop didn't touch the paper. You know, that was originally white, strips of white and black, you know, and then. Yeah, and that's how it's. Okay, there you go. Any questions? No?
Thanks, Bill.